His tuxedo is made of pure, authentic North Pole penguin. Self-employed borrowers wish they could work for him. People confuse the shadow of his head with the eclipse of the sun. If you lose a spouse and need a house, he calls his friend, Moneyman Joe, who will put a voodoo hex on the X, then guide you into a new crib. He is the most interesting man in mortgage.
Hey guys, Wally Olivieri. All right, so what is 24/7 mindset? Most times when you hear 24/7, you're thinking what? 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, just grinding, hustling. I learned over time a 24-year career in mortgage and multiple other businesses that I own is, unfortunately, you'll get burnt out. I became an absent father, I became an absent husband, and I became a poor business leader because I was trying to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, trying to build a business, maintain a business. When I learned how to work smarter, not just harder, by doing things the best way it could be done, instead of just simply doing my best, I learned how to work only 24 hours a week, 7 months a year, while I got paid from the business residually 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can do the same. Welcome to the show. All right, so today is a super special day. I am very lucky to be with the most interesting man in mortgage. Hello, Mr. Bill.
Hi, how are you, Wally?
Doing great, man. Great. All right, there's a lot going on in that screen there. So walk me through it. We got the cigar. Who's your little buddy there?
So this is Junior right here. So the guy that I've worked with for 5 years. He's from Hollywood. He's been basically kind of guiding me in different ways, and it's like this is so unnatural for me. But he just said, "You know what? You're going to appeal to this Muppet crowd, so I need to get you a puppet." So, anyways, he got me this puppet. So we kind of created this character, the most interesting man in mortgage. So that's what I go by.
I love it. I love it. So walk me through your career. Like, who is Bill, and what do we want to know about Bill?
Yeah. So career-wise, I've been in the mortgage industry for 30 plus years now. Prior to mortgage, I was real estate appraiser. I appraised commercial real estate, seen all sorts of changes over, a little bit less than 40 years, but have fun doing it, enjoy it, and really love what I do.
That's absolutely awesome. So a 30-year career in mortgage. Have you, I've been only at this game since 1999, so 25 years.
You're a rookie, man.
I am. But then I hear all the time, like, we've never seen a market like this. And I'm like, I don't know. I remember the dot-com burst. I remember even before that, the savings and loan crisis. So here's a question for you then. How have you seen a market like this before?
Well, I was looking at it, when I first got in 1993, the number of sales transactions for resales is about the same as we are right now. So we're talking 30 years, we're at basically the number of sales is at this level. At the same time, the population of the United States has grown by, 35, 40 million. So it's kind of interesting to see just the reduction in sales over that time. And refinances, where that's always been a part of the business, that really went away tremendously. So not only did you have refinances drop off a cliff, you also had the number of sales drop off a cliff.
Yeah. So do you still originate now, or what's your world going to look like there?
Yeah. Good question. I've had a long storied career, Wally. I've been, was in a startup that we started with 12 people. I was one of the owners when we started. We grew it to about 6,500 people. And then in August of 2007, all of a sudden, like the music stopped. All of a sudden, they stopped selling mortgages on the Wall Street. And when I was kind of looking around, I was like, where did everybody go? And so, we were funding about close to 40 billion a year as a company. and we had to,
You say 40 billion a year?
yeah, 40 billion a
Holy
year,
smokes.
and very progressive technology wise. I was not the brain power of the organization. Honestly, I actually came in as an originator. So that said, though, as the company grew, I did take on some leadership roles, SVP, and ran some origination units and internet lending. And so I've done a lot of that. I love the team. I love the team aspect. Been on teams my whole life. And so, but to answer your question, I am now originating just out of just the changes in the marketplace. And I love it. And it's been so much fun for me to dive back in, talk to people, and advise them, because I honestly, 37 years in real estate, 30 years in mortgage, I've got some wisdom that I like to share, and it's a lot of fun.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, I think, we've got a little bit similar stories. So 2021 was my last year originating. And, did $200 million in loans in 2021. Then the team kind of took over in 2022. And we did another 200 million, but the team handled everything from A to Z. 2023, I write the book 24/7 Mindset. I'm launching the academy. I'm thinking I'm in my next chapter in business or next chapter of life. And I've hung up my origination boots. And it was interesting. It was like, it was September 2023. So September of last year, I get a message through Instagram saying from someone, leave their name nameless. Hey, anybody can do $200 million when the rates are at 3%. But you're not doing any loans right now. So were you big refi shop? And I'm like, what are you talking about? But, it kind of sparked the interest of like, you don't think I can do loans at 8% or 7%? I mean,
Challenge.
I was doing loans at 11%. What are you talking about? So I'm starting to redabble in the whole origination game right now. And I'm having fun with it.
Yeah, I honestly, I love it. So I'm in Las Vegas,
Okay.
and so it's just a matter, and we have a team in San Diego. So we've always had a team. One of our teams is, but our team has shrunk tremendously. But a couple years ago, we did as a team somewhere around almost 700 million. So It was a lot on the team, but the markets have changed. The different markets are going back, and for me, people wanted to actually work with me. And so it was because I do have knowledge. I do have just, I guess, a good bedside manner, if you will, in regards to helping these people and make them feel comfortable and making, educated decisions. And I love it. And, I jump on Zoom, I go through my mortgage calculator with them and kind of walk them through credit, income, assets. And it's a lot of fun. So for me, I've been in management, I've been in SVP roles, I've been regionals, I've been, team leaders, and honestly, I like what I'm doing now.
Yeah. Well, I think what's also pretty neat about it is like I can feel your heart in it. And when your heart's in it, your spirit's in it. When your spirit's in it, like it's not work anymore. And
No.
the other person at the other side of the other end of the Zoom or other end of the call really understands like you're pouring your heart into them, which is amazing.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about, okay, so you've got the mortgage business you're kind of originating. What's the rest of your world going to look like?
Well, I'm in Las Vegas, and Las Vegas is an awesome place to live, and it's growing like gangbusters. I mean, we have Super Bowl coming here in a couple of weeks. We had F1, which was $1 billion, event for Las Vegas, and I've been here now 6 years, and it's just the energy here is just tremendous. I mean, everybody that comes to Vegas wants to be in Vegas. It used to be kind of a transient type town where people would come and try and find themselves and then go. And now people, because of, really, in my opinion, looking at it was COVID and COVID work from home. A lot of people just decided to come to Las Vegas and decided they could make a living here. And there's a lot of great places. So being in Vegas, I have a family. I've got, second marriage, and I have, believe it or not, I have a child that is turning 4 on February 13th. So,
Wow.
so I kind of, started a little bit over to a certain degree, and he keeps me young. He keeps me young for sure.
How old are the rest of your kids?
I have an 18-year-old who just joined the Navy.
Nice.
So she got stationed in Hawaii, bad place, right? So she's in
Awesome.
Pearl Harbor on the ship. Talked to her yesterday. She couldn't, get all her sheets together. She had to go to the Next, and she didn't have any money, and she left her card in her friend's room, and so we were going through that thing yesterday. And then my son is an aspiring musician in Koreatown in Los Angeles. So
That's awesome. Well, that's pretty neat. My boys are 16 and 18. So I've got a junior in high school and a senior in high school. And they're so much fun. And we're so super close as a family. And, but I don't know how you did it or what your coaching around it is, but my 18-year-old leaves for college here this coming up year. So he graduates from high school, and I'm definitely going to miss that little guy. So he's either
Where's he
looking
going?
he's either looking at OU. He hasn't decided yet, either OU or Arkansas.
Yeah.
So I've got him an internship at Northwestern Mutual this summer. So he's really excited about that. And I don't know. I never went to college myself, so I'm excited to see him experience that. But he said something last night to me that I thought was interesting. So he's starting this internship at Northwestern Mutual in May. And then he said, if it goes well, Dad, who knows? I might not need to go to college. I'm like,
well, I'll tell you, I mean, it's not as, in my opinion, I don't think it's as important as it used to be.
Yeah.
I really don't. Now that, that's coming from someone, I went to college, I went to the University of Arizona, Bear Down Wildcats. And, but I think the work ethic is really a huge benefit. And I think there's so much education online now that we didn't have access to when we were growing up. I'm, obviously older than you, but there wasn't all the data that came out, and you can learn and you can understand. And the social media thing has completely like flip-flopped everything. And so, and here I am, I'm, 63, and I'm doing social media, right? So if I can do it, then anybody can do it. And I think it's just kind of the way of the world, and it just have to be educated on that. So, but I love, by the way, before I go, I loved your post of you looking at it, like in the picture there going, my son gave us a 2-hour notice that all our friends, 40 friends of my son are coming over for winter formal party. Or I'm thinking to myself, that was a classic picture right there.
Yeah, that's 100% my 18-year-old for sure. It was 44 kids and parents. There was about 130 people that came to the house, so we had a 2-hour notice.
2-hour notice. Well,
right.
I guess, Wally, if you could host 144, you can do about anything. So you have the mindset to get it done.
We just figured it out, and like I was saying, I'm gonna miss a little guy, but it's like hey, and it's crazy to think. But last night we were talking about, I'm like, so you got prom coming up. Do we want to do this again for prom? And he's like, you're gonna do this again? I'm like, yeah, why not? I'll build memories. I'll make for a funny Facebook post, and we'll move on.
Well, to me, that's what life is about, right? Experiences. You can work your butt off, and I truly enjoy what I do, and I work hard. But I think there's also the benefit of working hard is that you get to enjoy some of the things in life, and those things will always stay with you. Yeah, you'll remember that. I mean, you're gonna look at that post 10 years from now and go, God, do you remember that? And so that'll be pretty funny to look back on. So experience.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. So like you're kind of a unicorn. And what I mean by that is you're 63 years old and you're huge on social. So I usually find the older generation, and I'm 45, so it's not like I'm 20 something, but I usually find the older generation intimidated by social or intimidated by technology, and their business shrinks because they don't know how to adapt with the times. But what is the spark in you at 63 that you're big on social that other loan officers can actually learn from you?
Well, and sometimes it gets frustrating for me to see 28, 30, 32-year-olds that are not realizing the power of social media and what it is. And that's where I think sometimes it's, I have a benefit from the standpoint of my background, my education. I was a marketing degree at the University of Arizona. And so you're always like, okay, how can you figure out what's going to happen in the market going forward. And, I saw this, gosh, like 7, 8 years ago, and I haven't been doing it that long. Honestly, Wally, if I didn't have to do it, I probably wouldn't do it. But the more I get into it, the more I understand. And I look at so many people right now, where they have so much knowledge right up here. They know more. Like, I have someone on my team who knows like 10 times, well, maybe 100 times more than I do, but it's all here and nobody knows what they know. And so you have to, the where people are at is social. Where people are at is right here on the phone. They're looking at their phone all day long. And so it's, if you want to stay relevant, if you want to be in the business for a long time, you just have to get your name known. And, I have people, and I'm sure you do this too all the time, which I love your podcast. It's an awesome podcast.
Thank you.
Where you look at it and people go, okay, I got Bill's number, and who in the heck is Bill? Right? Let me Google Bill. And so they'll Google and then they'll check me out, and they'll all do all that kind of stuff. And if they like me, great. If they don't, that's okay too. But at least they'll have an understanding of who I am, what I'm about. I like to have fun, but I do know what I'm doing. And, it's fun. I talk about my handle. So by the way, for all you watching, my handle is o.gaylord. And so I got it from my wife. So this is how the story goes, Wally. So I have one of those minds that sounds like you have a mind, because that's what your podcast is all about, 24/7 mindset, where I come up with things. And she looks at me and she goes, oh, Gaylord. So o.gaylord is my handle. But what I say then is, when I get sexy with her, she goes, oh, Gaylord, So anyway, but it's honestly just to bring out personality, have some fun, get the knowledge out there, and and that's where the eyeballs are.
Yeah. So is there a theme that you try to have? Is there a message that you try to relay? Like, is there a process that you can kind of coach us on?
It's a work in progress. It is
Okay.
a absolute work in progress. And I don't think it'll ever, there's stuff that you do, right? There's some things that I've created here called, I'll get into that in a minute, but I think it's all a little bit of trial and error. It's like first getting familiar with the different platforms, then getting comfortable in front of the video, then just being able to talk about topics that people are interested in and see that. And so it is never ending, and it's always trying to get better and improve and make your content better. I did have one video, or it was a reel that went viral, and we ended up getting 7.7 million or 7.8 million views right now.
Are you serious?
Yeah. And so it's like, what happened, right?
Was that on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube, or
it's
what?
on Instagram. It's on Instagram. And it was really, I do a podcast with a realtor here in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And it wasn't me, but I posted the conversation because I thought it was super relevant to what was going on in the marketplace. And so he talked about it, and he hit a nerve, and he really hit a nerve with home buyers, basically feeling regret, being left out, that if you don't buy now, potentially when rates drop, you're going to be competing with others. And he really hit a nerve. That thing just went zoom, right? Well, prior to that, I just kept posting. I did dailies. I would, like people on their stories, and then all of a sudden that one just happened to take off. With that has now exposed me to a lot more individuals that are looking at me nationwide. I do loans in every state, and so it's really put more of an exposure on me. But did I think that particular reel was going to go viral? God, no. So, and then I've hired somebody to now to chop it all up, and start posting on all the various platforms, because at some point somebody's going to see me.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's what's great about that is I'm doing a mortgage coach show tomorrow with Dave Savage and Todd Bookspan, and
Love
my
those guys. But by the way,
uh,
look at that right there, right?
yeah, I went by noon. I saw
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
and the subject title that I picked was "Top 5 Ways Not to Be a Secret Lender." And you see so many
I
loan
like
officers
it.
out there. You
Yeah.
see so many loan officers out there. They're really great at their jobs, but no one knows about it. And
No.
I think it's the biggest thing you've got to really understand to be successful in this business. You have to be brave enough to be your own microphone. You have to be brave enough to be your own voice out there. And earlier in my career, I was intimidated that people would say, "Well, you need to be more humble. You need to quit bragging about yourself." And you realize when you're creating content, it's not bragging when you're speaking from the heart and you're opening up and you're sharing and you're storytelling. I think before when it was more like a factual, here's what I do, here's what I am, there was more, yeah, I can see that being bragging. But here's a client, here's what happened with the client, here's their situation, here's what I was able to do, and here's the benefit that there was. And there's a great book called Story Brand that is an amazing, amazing book around being able to how do you articulate your words to get to the emotional feelings of actions of a person instead of just staying in the brain. So do you have a certain story profile that when you share?
Uh, we do have Story Brand, right? We've talked about that.
Yeah.
I think that's a really, like you said, it's an awesome book. My biggest thing for me, the one book that has literally changed my life was How to Win Friends and Influence People. I mean, that's a
Awesome.
big book for everybody, right? And
Yeah.
the stories in there are from like 1910 with President Roosevelt and all like, but everything in that book is so relevant. And me as a kid, the last class I took in college was, public speaking. I was petrified, and I still don't really particularly care for it, but it's part of the job, so I do it. But that book literally changed my life because I did not like to talk. I
Yeah.
did not. I mumbled. I jumbled. What do I say? And it essentially, the one lesson it taught me was to ask questions. And if I ask questions of somebody else, then I don't have to talk. And so that to me was the best book. And then I just learned how to, ask good questions. And so when I'm doing my consults, I ask a lot of questions to really dive in with what they want and not necessarily, I need to listen. So that's a big thing.
Yeah. One of my, have you ever read the book Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod?
Yep.
Yeah. So he's a great buddy. He's also a past client.
Oh.
And he was on the podcast a couple of weeks ago. And, he helped me build out my affirmations. And I've got 3 affirmations that I say every morning, but one of them has 4 components in it. It's my questions are piercing, my answers are motivating, my presence is commanding, my success is untouchable. So for my questions to be piercing, I actually have to pay attention and listen. And I think that's where most loan officers really struggle. They're just so excited to give value, so excited to be able to tell you, I can do this for you. Here's the rate. Here's the payment. Here's this. Here's that. And if you just take the time to listen and listen for the emotions behind the words instead of just simply listen to the words, it's a game changer because you're really able to unlock one simple thing, which is the question behind the question, which is another great book. But the question behind the question is usually connected to emotions, but it's usually level 2 or level 3 deep. And most times a loan officer gets a client say, "Hey, I'm looking for X." Okay, great. I can do X and da. Well, why is X important to you? If you received X, what would that do for you and your family? If X is not an option, what would Y need to look like?
Yeah.
And it's just understanding the curiosity portion of business can just propel you because then you're actually being a great listener.
Yeah, and I think that the word curiosity is huge, right? Everybody, if you're curious and you have empathy and you're actually really wanting to help them,
Yeah.
the authenticity of that just really it just propels you forward. And like you said, it is really understanding what they want. It was interesting. I was in a consult just as I was diving back in about a little over a year and a half, a year ago, and I didn't listen. I didn't listen to the client, and she wanted a lower payment, and I was like, "Well, we can structure it this way and save you closing costs." If you save closing costs and you can refinance down the road, and then you'll save money long term. And she goes, I just want a lower payment. I didn't listen. And she went to the person who charged her more, but she got the lower rate and it was a good payment for her. So
Yeah.
it's just, and I like the why, right?
Yeah.
Why is this important to you? So, but the
Well,
questions has really changed my life.
I think also what's great about that is if you, um, I've learned what works in business also works in personal life. And I've been married now 18 going on 19 years. And, the ability to be able to have such a deep rooted relationship with my wife of just staying curious. I've got a lot of referral partners I worked with for 10, 12, 13 years. It's a staying in curious and not assuming. I
Yeah.
think when you're a salesperson, your Achilles heel, or the biggest mistake we can ever make is we assume we know the question before they even ask the question, or we assume we know the answer before you go deeper with someone. Curiosity is the number one reason of my success, and just the ability to want to go deeper in with what I'm curious about.
Yeah, it's a great point, and you have to listen. To me, that's huge, and then ask the right questions, and that really propels a lot of what I do, because
Yeah,
they like, as you know, people like to really talk about themselves, and what's most important is really them. It's not you, it's
yeah.
them, and just understanding that as well.
Awesome. So we've learned more about Bill in the past. What's Bill of the future kind of look like? What's the next 1 year, 2 or 3 years for Bill look like?
Well, I've done so many things in my life. I've got a lot of wisdom. I have a lot of fun. So for me, it's just continuing to enjoy life. I am
Yeah.
not I'm not retiring anytime soon. I don't want to retire. I don't know if I'll ever retire. It's just, it keeps me in the game. And I really like the team aspect of what we do. And so being the camaraderie and getting together and making sure that we're all headed in the right direction, I'll keep working and I'll keep getting better. One thing that, in terms of trying to recreate myself, if you will, from an origination standpoint, after being, team lead for 15 years, not really originating, I had to recreate myself. And so part of that was, it's a relationship business, as you know, Wally. It's really diving in and understanding the relationships that are important to you. And I created this program called Las Vegas Pitch in Las Vegas, and it's like a pitch session for realtors. So we've created a whole formula, website, you know, invitations where realtors come and they pitch their listings to other realtors. And it's been a great, and I lead it, and the MC, whatever. And it's been great to get to build those relationships with the realtors, because at the end of the day, sometimes it is that belly to belly,
Yeah.
and social media is like, I can't touch you, right? But if you can get belly to belly and they see what you're doing, at least for me, that's worked pretty well.
Well, what's great about that is you've got a lot of great air game and you've got a lot of great ground game. What I mean by that is, they're getting to know who you are through the social media, but they're getting to know what you're about with a one-on-one. And I think there's so many loan officers, unfortunately, don't understand the importance of both of them at the same time. And, the ability to have the air game and the ground game where it's just they meet in the middle and the relationship is just formed.
Yeah.
And not only do they know who you are, but then they know more about you than the average person does.
Yeah. And you said something, back about how sometimes people would say you shouldn't be so, uh, I guess, confident or whatever
Yeah.
in terms of your message. But I think relationships are built through basically viewing and watching and
Yeah.
then meeting. And I think that over time, people will understand that what your values are, who you are, why you are probably one of the best to go to for their needs. And you're going to take great care of the people that you work with. And it shows based on your families and the kids and the relationships you have with them and your wife and the relationships that you have with realtors. And that's why you've been so successful, is because you relish those relationships. And whether you're confident or not, the people after they watch you will understand why and who you're looking out for, which is the client and the families that you work for.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I was asked the other day, is where do I get my bravery from? And I go, I don't know if I'd consider myself brave, but what do you mean? And like, well, you do these videos, you do this, you do this, you do this. And I said, if I had to boil it down, it's my 4-wall rule. And what I mean by my 4-wall rule is 4-wall, WALL, 4-wall rule. And there's only, if you're inside the 4 walls of my house, you have an opinion of who I am. If you're outside of the 4 walls of my house, you have zero opinion of who I am. And I realized that, I think it was probably a mindset shift that I made probably about 10 years ago. And it's not like I don't care about what other people think, but I don't let judgment turn into criticism and keep it in and just be myself. And I think what I love so much about getting to know you and meeting you is you're so super duper comfortable in your own skin. And there is no judgment around, okay, well, what's that behind you? And it is the matchy jackets too much. And it's just like, if someone's got a problem with it, it's their problem. It's not your problem.
Yeah. I look at it too, Wally, is numbers, people don't want a mortgage. Why do you want a mortgage? You'd rather you want the house. And so we provide the money to buy the house. And my whole goal is to make them feel comfortable, make it be a fun process so that they can go buy the house and enjoy it. And so if I can add a little levity to it, and if some people don't like it, that's okay. That's okay. There's somebody else out there who is, will be better for them. But, it's fun. You got to have fun. And I want people to have fun when they buy a home, not necessarily when they get the mortgage.
Yeah. All right. So we're coming up on our time here, but I want to give us one. You've shared a lot of wisdom here. Give us one more nugget of wisdom that a listener can take this and implement today.
The one thing that I would say is let people know what you do and who you are. And that the only way to do that is to either get in front of people and show them who you are, or you can do the social media thing and let them know. Don't keep all your knowledge here. Let people understand what your knowledge is, and they'll gravitate to you. They'll come to you and just have fun doing it. It's hard for me to do it, but at the same time, I'm not going to live. I mean, you talked about it earlier. I got to let people know what I do.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think what's brilliant about that is you do it in such a fun way that it's an attraction. And you just, you're able to just let your hair down and just be just open.
What hair?
I was reluctant to say, but it was already coming out of my mouth. But
no,
you knew what I meant.
No, that's what can I read you my last most interesting man little saying?
Please go for it.
Okay,
that'll be the best closing thoughts. What do you got?
So here's what we got. Let's see here. Okay, his tuxedo is made of pure, authentic North Pole penguin. Self-employed borrowers wish they could work for him. People confuse the shadow of his head with the eclipse of the sun. If you lose a spouse and need a house, he calls his friend, Moneyman Joe, who will put a voodoo hex on the X, then guide you into a new crib. He is the most interesting man in mortgage.
That is absolutely amazing. you by far have exceeded my expectations today. Absolute blast. Thank you so much, Bill.
Well, appreciate it, Wally, and best of luck to you. Great podcast. Keep it rolling. Have fun. Say hi to Dave tomorrow, and I'm sure we'll catch up soon.
Sounds good. Well, I'll look forward to seeing your next show, and let me know if there's anything else I can do to help.
Okay. Thanks, Wally.
So thank you so much for listening today. It means a lot you took time out of your day. I don't take that lightly. Understand very clearly that you're very busy. And with that being said, if you want to continue your journey and learn more about 24/7 mindset, if you're on Facebook, which I'm going to guess you are, then go to 24/7 Mindset on Facebook and join the private community. I do coaching tips on there on a daily basis, go from scripts on there to systems on there, models, and the ability to be able to grow and scale a business while you have a quality of life. Hope to see you there.